Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for a weekly angel reading for June the 8th through the 14th, 2020. So let's take a moment to take a deep breath and to clear our minds and our hearts. And just be aware of this opportunity to be in a sacred space of your inner being and to be a witness to the source of your light. And really breathe deeply, expanding your awareness of your inner alignment, the peace and the harmony and the love that exists there for you. Feel the effortless ease. Feel the sense of harmony in the sense that everything is in balance in the absence of resistance. So, as we sort of tune in and just paying attention to the energy for this week. And before I begin, they're reminding me to just make you aware that for the month of June, we're still offering the $77 reading, half-hour reading for 1 hour. So there's no special button or for this offer. You just would activate that particular reading, the half-hour reading, in order to get the hour reading. And I will send you email confirmation within 24 hours on the first business day. So just be aware of that, okay? All right. And there's just a lot of things that I'm sort of sensing for this week. And they're showing me the energy of the tree. So this is kind of my spiritual diagnostic of how you are, how much of your own alignment are you connecting with or not. And so they're showing me that the trunk of the tree is sort of narrow, a little bit more narrow than usual, and narrows as it gets to the higher point of your consciousness, meaning the branches, which is always full. There's just so much there for each one of us. We have no idea what is really there. And so they wrote the word fear. And so there you may have some energy, some resistance is more what I feel like it is around things sort of, things sort of coming back going back to normal. And that resistance is something that you really need to pay attention to. And, there could be some anxieties around how things are going to look, around how things are going to pan out. There's just so many different emotions that are sort of spinning around. And, as we've said, our world, as we can see, is already not looking the same as it was before the pandemic. And so many other things have occurred, and that right now there seems like there's so much chaos and disarray. But what you have to really understand is, first of all, they want you to know that you're safe, but there is a beauty in the chaos, because there is absolute freedom to support causes, and the causes that we're seeing right now. And this is the force of change. And the force of change, the right word, power, this is in this upheaval, this force of power, this force of change is liberating power. Okay? Liberating power. So that power, that what was believed or perceived as being held by a few, that power is being liberated, and power that has been oppressed and repressed, suppressed, is also being liberated. And in the course of all of this change, there is an awareness of self that is really important, an awareness of self that is deeply profound for each and every one of us. We're being untethered to limiting beliefs, our own inhibitions, and in ways that we hesitate. Sometimes we just spend so much time thinking, and this creates such hesitation, and it creates sort of an imprisonment that is self-imposed. And when opportunities like this unfold, we know that we are breaking through. So what we're really witnessing, and what we were told at the beginning of the year, that this was going to be a breakthrough year. And we did say that it was going to be an obstacle course. And that obstacle course was meant to provoke you. To provoke you to get on your path. To help you to, break ties or those connections. And sort of like what I mean by that, in a sense, is almost like those neural connections, those patterns, those habits that have been feeding, and in a way, thought processes that have been really repressing our inner light. And so this is not another, because I keep hearing people that say end times. Well, you're right about that in one regard only, in that things will never be the way they are. The way they have been, and that we're now in the process of being open and available to the way things can be, and the way that, and that has to do with us creating a better world forward, not only in your own life, but in your communities, and linking that and connecting that with the entire world. So don't be discouraged by the upheaval and the chaos, or whatever the fighting, the protesting. This is all the process of change. And each and every one of us, if we're being true to ourselves, if we are being true to ourselves, meaning we are listening to our hearts, we are becoming aware of the true aspect of our divinity that is confronting us in this raw atmosphere, environment, then if we're being true to ourselves in this way, this change will create enormous power and empowerment for everyone, and will bring about the world and the age of peace that we all deserve. And this peace and this harmony, the fighting that we do with each other is the same acute fighting that we do with ourselves. This is a systemic problem in the sense of our egos, personally and collectively, that keeps dividing and separating because it is afraid of recognizing its connection and its reality and oneness with Source. So embrace the obstacle course, embrace it for what it's helping you to, how it's helping you to change and evolve and to break apart those beliefs that have been holding you back within yourself and holding you back not only from within yourself, primarily from loving yourself, and then holding you back from being able to love your neighbor as yourself. This truly can't occur until we first learn to love ourselves. By stop resisting our truth, stop resisting our hearts, stop resisting the guidance and the awareness that is being brought to you. Don't resist going towards the better version of you, the higher version of you that your higher soul is maintaining in a calm, peaceful, and harmonious way. Feel less guilt and regret and disappointment. And then you can receive the understanding, the compassion, and the guidance that this aspect of you, this higher aspect of you, speaks through your intuition and all of what that means. That's really something huge and power. It is really where your power, your true power originates, and it's the power. It's a, how do I want to say? This may be the awkward way to say it, but it's your inheritance, your righteous power, if you will, and it will seek to always empower everyone else and uplift and unite. And we can no longer be afraid of this kind of power, the power of love. It is an enormous strength and force with which now we can enact the change that we know that our soul's purpose has come here to implement and fulfill and to support. So some of you are support, some of you are the action. And so don't feel that your roles are all going to be the same in this process of enacting this change of peace and divine power. Don't get confused by looking outside of yourself and then judging yourself and criticizing yourself for not doing what you see others are doing. But do what you know your heart has called you to do. Some of you are going to be the supports, meaning the pillars. Some of you are going to be the foundation. Some of you are going to be, I want to say the ceiling, but not in a sense a ceiling that has a limit, but a ceiling that holds the space for higher awareness and enlightenment. And some of you are going to be the arms, the hands, and the feet. Some of you are going to be taking the steps to enact that change. Some of you are going to be builders with your hands. Some of you are going to just be holders, meaning with your arms you're going to hold those who grieve and who are trying to figure out their way. So just be aware of what your soul is guiding you. But if you're feeling hit hard, then don't resist that. Embrace that, because that's the knock on the door of your heart. That's a knock on the door of your heart. And you know this knock, because it doesn't just come in times like this. It comes in even times of peace. Because in the times of peace, we want to just go say, well, I've done it. I'm on vacation. No, as long as you're here in this physical body, there's always going to be a knock on that door of your heart. And if you just go with it, the extraordinary love within you will empower you and others. And right now, this is a time of action, but a time to act with love. And I'm not saying how that love should look, but I'm also definitely telling you that right now, love is at play in all of this. Think about when children, the one thing about children, the smallest children, they play that, we say, oh, they have energy from day to night. And things happen to them. They play, they enjoy, they have, complete pleasure. Something will happen. They'll whine, holler, get out. But they're not resisting. Because you notice as soon as they've got it all, boom, snap, and they're back, smile, and they're back to playing again. And they go all night. But you and I, the difference is when something happens, we go down, we take it in, it's very personal, we hold it in, we don't let it out, and then we're exhausted afterwards. And you have to go take a nap, or you go self-medicate yourself by whatever that means for you, whether it's eating or drinking, whatever you do that, you go just zone out. And then you are ready for bed sooner than you'd like to be. And you push through that and you're tired. But children have the tiny ones have this inexhaustible energy because they are not ever resisting. Even when they have the outbursts, that's not resistance. That's letting it all out. And right now, the world is letting it all out. And that is a good thing. That's going to, it's bringing people together. That's the word I'm seeing from them, the angels. But it's also not holding back. This is non-resistance. Yes, we could do it in ways that we would like it to be done, but we can't try to control. Because when you do that, you try to dominate, then you are just going to, you're oppressing, and then it's going to explode again. So for each and every one of us individually right now, don't let this inform you in your own life. Don't hold back. And everybody's not let's say, a peaceful warrior. But pay attention to how you are being confronted by your higher being. And what I mean by that is that your higher being is always there. But for the first time, you are so vulnerable in your emotions that you're able to see it, and it feels like it's confronting you. But it's always there, peacefully, holding the space for what you truly are. And the only reason that you feel bad when you're aware of it is because you are beating yourself up about it, and that's not at all what your higher being is doing. It's just loving you. It's just has to be there to hold the space for what your truth is so that you know where you need to go, in contrast to what is not that for you. So the more that each of us can be present with our higher self and what it's reminding us of, and in some cases revealing to you, when you don't resist that, your own inner healing can occur where you are feeling inspired, because your inner being is going to inspire you. It's not going to do anything. So your ego is telling you all kinds of things, but the one thing it's going to do is just inspire you. And when you feel inspired, you are liberated in that moment. You are liberated in that moment. And think about if each and every one of us is liberated within, then it's so easy to see and want to curate a way for others to have that same kind of freedom. There will be no barriers within you, judgment or opinions that will discredit or discount that in others. And you can support with your divine power of love. Okay. So let's take a look and see what the Archangel card we're working with for the week. And this is really powerful because Archangel Metatron, I feel like we just had this card, but I don't remember when, but recently. So prioritize. And this is Archangel Metatron just really coming in to say focus. Focus on your higher priorities, it says. I will help you get organized and motivated. So this is the time for us to enact the ascension codes of empowerment, freedom, love, compassion, focus. This is the time for us to really focus. This is the time for us to really pay attention to the divine assignments that are being placed in your heart. There's that knock on the door of your heart. This is the time now to be aware. Don't keep that door shut. Don't ignore that knock on the door of your heart. Focus. And even if it seems like what your focus is about doesn't seem to directly relate to what's going on, you must still focus there. You must focus there because this is you taking care of your health, your well-being. Your well-being, nurturing your well-being is an extraordinary gift of love that will bring about peace in the ways, in those different areas. This world is almost like a huge machine of different things going on, and there are different parts, and each one of us has to be now in place, spiritually activating and spiritually activated in place, fulfilling your component of this giant device, mechanism. And if each one of us is activated as a component of love, then we revert this mechanism that seems to be focused on fear and chaos and power in the sense of dominating and bullying others and oppressing others and negating others. We can reboot this mechanism, this world system. So answer that knock on the door of your heart. Now Archangel Metatron, who is in charge of this entire ascension process, is saying for you to focus. This is the moment of priority. So all that other stuff that you were resisting, meaning concerned and worried about, which is all resistance, all that stuff that you were worried about before, worried about maintaining, my stuff, or worried that you're not going to be safe, or worried how you're going to survive. Focus on the knock. That knock on the door of your heart is the answer, but the true answer and the new path forward and the new path of truth and alignment that will supply, answer, provide all of the solutions in a very extraordinarily creative way. But the purpose is to now turn on, activate the components of love. And you are that component. Okay? Let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. All right, so we have the card that we had at the end of the last week on Friday, and it's a 3 of water. And, this is a card about friendship and, in terms of relationships and, a card of joy and celebration. Well, it doesn't feel like a time of celebration right now, but in a very weird way, we are joining together for an extraordinary cause. And this is a cause of humanity, because we are all spiritual beings. And at the core essence of our true purpose is love. As an action to love ourselves, to love each other, and to love the world and appreciate the world that we've been given, to explore all the many possibilities and ways to empower through love. And that love brings joy. The reward of love is joy to every heart and soul. And so right now, it's interesting with this card. These sea otters are on the surface playing and, having fun. This one goes beneath and he looks kind of serious and he's kind of almost like he's going to leap out of the card or go beyond his borders. And we have to be aware of what's going on the surface, in terms of our loved ones within our families, within our community, and within the world. And we have to also go beneath, not be afraid to go beneath and work on those things and see things from that underside, the things that you don't see, and get your assignment. So somehow when you look underneath what's really going on the surface, you'll see where you'll get a perspective about, and that perspective is going to open up a gateway for you in which you see yourself. And when you see yourself, you will see your divine assignment. And they're also writing that you will be satisfied in a way. And the past will not be relevant to you any longer. So don't be afraid to look beneath the surface of our interrelationships. Now, isn't this interesting? So we have another 3. And 3 is about, giving birth, expansion, growth. And so we move from joy, and then we move to a card, 3 of swords, 3 of air, of grief and pain. And see, it's almost like he's looking, when he goes beneath the surface, he sees the grief and the pain. He sees the things the ways that we're suffering. And this draws out his empathy and compassion. And so the way to that doorway of finding your divine assignment will be through your empathy. And the way to heal is through your compassion. Okay? So, I don't know since this is like minor arcana, but you may, on a personal level, have a sense of, things were sort of one way on the surface, but you're feeling something different beneath the surface. So really pay attention to what you're feeling beneath the surface. Don't resist that knock on the door. And the call will be through compassion. So let your compassion guide you this week about how you may be of service. Now, this card, the 4 of fire, let me make sure we can see the cards. So it's interesting, we go 3, 3, and now 4. So, by the end of the week, we move to a place of stability, okay? Meaning that whatever is done, this inner work that you do, and that you focus upon, you feel like for the first time you're establishing something. And maybe you feel empowered on that spiritual level. It's like you feel like you made a connection. And maybe some kind of, maybe you're inspired in a way that you find, you find your own foundation, or that you find your purpose. And what I like about this card is it looks like this ritual, and she's holding this sacred space. And in a place of appreciation and gratitude, she's found inner peace with herself because of this journey. She took that look beneath the surface, and in doing so, she comes out renewed and refreshed and filled with gratitude. And it's interesting to see, I think, with a dragon over her heart chakra. So that goes to show that it's pointing to a passion, her purpose in this moment. Maybe she feels, maybe that by the end of the week you feel like you fulfilled an important purpose, and that you've maybe activated a component of that mechanism that is your role to fulfill. All right, now this is an interesting card we pulled from the bottom. So this is 15, which is called Bindweed, which is traditionally the devil card. So this is going back to sort of what I was saying in the beginning, and you can see like she's just feeling tangled up, and sort of these voices above are just sort of almost she's resisting that. And this could be, the birds could represent these voices of dissent, or this opinionated, or all of the media. Everybody's got this different viewpoint, and you don't know what to listen to, and it's just overwhelming. And at the same time, it could just be your own inner being. The birds could also be this higher consciousness, or just speaking to you, and you're resisting it. So the thing is that there's a feeling of some confusion around all the things that you're hearing and all the things that you're seeing, and you just may, some of it you just can't face, because it's just so painful and distressing for you. But the thing is that this is a challenge for you in this week to go beneath the surface. It's wonderful when things are beautiful on the top and, we're having a great time and people put on a show for us, but it's not really the truth. And we're stronger than what we know. We can handle this. We're ready for this. Your soul came here specifically to be alert, aware, and to really face this with power, with your divine power, to activate it and to be a component of change for this. So this is not the time, not chastising you and just making basically a statement of spiritual clarity. This is not your time. This is not the time to crawl up in a bundle or, in a fetus position. You didn't come here to shut down. You came here to activate and participate in the way that you are called. So don't just pay attention to, what everybody else is doing, the media and all the voices. You as you listen, you also listen to the voice that's speaking to you from within, the compassion that is showing you how to liberate not only yourself, but others. Because the way that you turn on your love will liberate you and others. Because we're in a different kind of oppression, that our souls, and the way the fear that's out there and the bullying and all that stuff causes us to want to shut down and self-medicate and some people do that just by buying, and it's just feeding right into the problem. So just be aware of that knock on the door of your heart. Listen. It is not judging you. It is gentle. Your ego will react with fear. It'll cause you to feel anxiety, but there's no reason for that. That's just a habit of when you have to step outside of the comfort zone. And that's why this year, this obstacle course is provoking everyone out of those comfort zones, the complacency, so that we can have a world that we all came here to fulfill, a world that now has love and is based on the platform of love and clarity and transparency and honesty. And this is why you're being called, summoned. So I send you lots of love and angel blessings. And don't forget to join us for the daily card messages. If you haven't checked out the Angel Scope, which are the readings for the month for each zodiac sign, check that out on my channel as well. All right. And the daily card messages will be on YouTube, as well as on my Facebook page. And you can find all of those things in the description link below, as well as my website for a reading. All right, so have a beautiful week, everyone, and God bless you.